Blackface?
Why not?
Because
You should do it.
Watch the series finale of X-Men next Saturday morning. Check your local listings.
Hello. You want the goodies?
welcome to the goodie room.
And the Disney stock just keeps going down and down and down. And then Bob Iger is all like,
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
I'm bag of pixie dust. Contraband.
They're gonna do the Mary Poppins thing. They're gonna do it. They're gonna do it.
Yeah. See, here's the thing. The kids know that the only way to fly, Wizard Pepper.
oh, bitch, you killed Kenny.
Kenny.
You fat hoe.
As an actor, you should be able to do whatever you think you can do. You should be able to do it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Reina Creole, of course, bringing you that spice to sci-fi and pop culture analysis, and always keeping it real when it comes to theme parks. And of course, you have landed in the Spice Lounge, a show that is full of spicy takes, yet safe enough to play in the car, which kids wrestle. I love this show. Love all the banter, and especially love you guys out there in the chat. Cannot wait to start the show. We have a special guest, one of my compatriots from That Park Place. And you know what? Now is probably a good time for you guys to go out to thatparkplace.com and check out how much of a glow up the site has. So definitely check that out. So without any further ado, let's bring on the panel. We have got Vash Sky, we have got Retro Nerd Girl, and of course we have the one, the only WDW Pro with us. How are you all doing?
I love your intro, Lorena.
Oh, well, thank you.
Love it.
Yeah, it's fire.
Thank you so much. I mean, that one, it gets weirder from week to week to week, depending on what what I see.
You update that every week, though, Lorraine. Is that what you're saying?
Probably like every other week. It's like I have, my clips that I'm just like, okay, I'm never getting rid of these. And then there's enough room in case something happens to pop up. Like I was watching Key and Peele after watching the unfortunate movie known as the American Society of Magical Negroes, and somebody told me that I should check out the Magic Negro skit on Key and Peele, and I saw it and just died. There's actually a Sound of the South reference in there too, which is even funnier. But then, really, seriously, Bash, go look it up.
I will now. Oh, I'm all about this. I got to see it.
It's the Magical Negro fight. And one of them, he whistles, and you see the animated bluebird come down and I can't anything more, and I will spoil it. But oh my gosh, I had tears coming out of my eyes watching that whole thing. If you've seen my review for the American Society of Magical Negroes, I have cut in pieces of that Key and Peele skit in there because it's oh Lord, it is just it's so funny. If I wouldn't get claimed, I'd play the whole thing on here. So y'all just gonna have to go and find it for yourself. But anyway, after I watched that, then YouTube suggested this other one, which was, I think it was the specials that they do about inner city schools in trouble, but instead it was for the Vince Clortho School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, which is like the inner city version of of Hogwarts, but interesting how it's named after Vince Clortho from Ghostbusters.
Yes.
That's where I got those clips from. Kids had to go through the metal detector. One wand, it had a silencer on it. Pick that up. Another one, they had like pixie dust. That was contraband. They had wizard pepper. That was in there. Students pregnant with demon babies. I mean, it was. You have to watch it. It's just absolutely freaking genius.
Yeah, I want to see a movie about that.
This is why more people need to be tuning into the Spice Lounge, though. I mean, you're talking about there are very big channels out there with very big rosters of employees, and not even they are updating their intro like that. Lorena, you are bringing something magical to YouTube, and as I'm watching your audience grow right now, I'm just hoping that all of them are clicking that subscribe button and liking this video and being the gigawatts that you so deserve.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I hope you guys definitely come out to my 7K celebration. I think at 7.5K viewers, but hey, I'm grateful for each and every one of you. That is Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern, and hopefully all my folks here on the panel can make it to that. So it's going to be Saturday at 7 p.m. My celebration streams are crazy fun. We don't know who shows up. Your friends show up. Hey, let's do so-and-so and such and such. Okay. And we may actually play a Disney-themed round of Quiplash. So see how that goes.
Quiplash.
Yeah, sometimes Kathleen Kennedy gets a lot of mentions in that game.
Oh boy.
For real. Oh, well, first of all, 46 of you folks in here watching, thank you so very much. As prohibited or suggested, please do hit that like button. Please do share this stream out and get ready to have a great time. Alan, I see you. HC, I see you. Mark Daly, I see you. Good seeing you. I see Emily Kruger in there tossing out those member emojis. We got Chef Nation says good afternoon, beautiful people. Got her and got Little Chef there with her. Love seeing that doggo. Mike has bad knees. Good seeing you. Says currently have you on in the truck with my kids. Well, I'm glad for it. Hope to keep you all entertained, whether you're doing the evening drive or just still at the office for some reason, or just getting up, depending on where you are in the world. We're glad that you're here with us. I see Pro with the smiley face. Yes.
Smile. Smiling's my favorite.
I did not say that.
Absolutely.
And we have CJ saying, make sure to go check out that Park Place website after the stream. Yes, CJ is my guy who makes the most amazing thumbnails for my channel. Love his stuff. Soul Assassin is here, says howdy y'all. Well, good seeing you. We got Bash in the chat saying, hey guys, the boss is here.
Yes, he is.
Yep, he is.
Lorena, not me.
I got a promotion. Taylor Swift greater than Disney, Star Wars, and MCU. It's like, oh my God. Yes, I know. My cousin Beyonce's movie failed because I didn't go to see it. It's not my fault. She made the ticket prices too high.
Did Beyonce ever go? Did her concert go to streaming?
I don't think it did.
I'm just curious. It's going to land somewhere. Somebody's going to pick that up and put that on streaming. I wonder because T Swift. Pardon me, Swifties out there. T Swift did not do so well on Disney Plus. Not anywhere close to what they were hoping for. Yes, she had a great box office, but when she hit Disney Plus, losing to Bluey. So I think Beyonce has a chance to get some comeuppance. All the single ladies tune in to Beyonce on her streaming platform, and maybe she'll beat T Swift on the other side.
Was it beaten by Wish, or did Wish not measure up that high?
Wish topped out at 600 million minutes watched, which is not great. I don't remember what T Swift maxed out at, but I'm thinking, Vash, that Wish may have beaten T Swift on Disney Plus debut versus debut, which would be a huge.
Oh wow,
That's not good.
well, to be fair,
They paid a lot for
Beyonce did
T-Swift.
already get her special on Disney Plus, so she got Black is King, which is actually a really interesting artistic watch. I'd like to check it out. It was fun. I like the music in it.
Well, they said that Beyonce is on Netflix. Her little movie that she did.
Oh,
yeah. So
Maybe
and
she's got a Netflix exclusive then.
yeah.
ooh, I'm gonna have to check it out. Yeah, cousin, I will check out the stuff there because I already had Netflix. No, it is not it's not a joke, folks. Yes, I am actually Beyonce is actually my distant cousin. All us Creoles are related. So yeah, that is actually true. Stone Racket, thank you so much for that $1.49 super sticker with the beautiful black cat. Thank you so very much.
We have to look into it, Lorena. We might be related too. I definitely have a lot of family there.
Oh, see, that's gonna be interesting. Now I'm intrigued.
Got some queen bees here. Okay.
In retro, we gotta compare some family notes.
I know.
I would love that. Ann Beck is in the chat. Amanda Pizzolato is in the chat. Good to see you, my dear. Stunt Brat is in the chat with her effusive personality and amazing Hollywood story. So glad you're here, my dear.
Great.
We got D Nice Gamer in the chat. We got Dylan Soup in the chat. We've got Teresa in the chat, Ms. Martin Muses, who also has an amazing channel. So good seeing you, my dear. Forgotten Prime is here. Says hi all. Well, hello. Lugnuts is here. Good to see you, Lugnuts. So wonderful seeing you with your lovely poetry. Bosco Scenario, aka Guy Scar. She says, hola, hermana. Hola, hermano, and cannot wait to have you on the show soon. Actually, next week. Bosco is going to be on the show. We're going to be talking about Fallout series.
Qué fantástico, Bosco. Yo no puedo esperar.
Yes. I can't roll my R's.
Me either. I cannot for the life of me.
It's a Floridano thing. I can't.
You just have to say them muy rápido.
Muy rápido.
You did it. I told you could do it.
Getting the best out of everybody.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying that's pro, getting the best out of everybody. Right there.
Yes.
Right, see?
Yes.
Gotta believe in yourself.
Bro, man, his Spanish is on point. Stone Racket, I love those cat emojis. I'm looking at Professor X. He's all confused since I got computer parts all over the place around here. Got him a little bed to go under my computer desk. No, he doesn't want to sit in that.
Aww.
Go figure. Mark Daly for $5. Weatherman kicks Gina again for no good reason. When did Disney become a hotbed of sexism?
Oh, we'll talk about that in just a second. That's for sure.
Yes, we are going to talk about that. I think from now on, I think before I do the show, I just have to wait an hour, and then I think someone, whoever it is, who's writing for Variety or Hollywood Reporter or Deadline, will drop something like, "Forget your plans."
Is it any surprise that the same day that Bob goes after Gina, Bob also gets back on X? I think there's something to that being on the same day.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. Why do I keep thinking about King George III from Hamilton singing "You'll Be Back"? That's what I thought of Elon when Disney was like, "We're pulling all our advertising. Oh, you'll be back. You'll be back."
Yes.
Hey, Bob.
Hey, how you doing, Tom?
Well,
This is Rogue Attractions. This is howdy, folks. Howdy. Well, glad you're here. Glad all of you guys are here. The Major's here. Mamasaurus Rex is here. Izzo's Place. I'm here for the spice, but we have got a ton of spice for you all. 65 of y'all on the chat. Yes, he is on X. He is on X. Say hi, Bob. We missed you. Wink,
Hey,
wink,
Bob.
Yes, Nick Hayes, I did hear something about that. I did hear something about that. Yeah, I did, unfortunately. So many crazy things. They did, you know what? I'm probably gonna have to fire them. They got me for 6 months, unfortunately. But yeah,
Oh no.
I'm gonna have to fire them and go back to the UPS store. Ladies are probably like, "We knew you'd be back." Oh, let's see. DAS is bringing out the pixie dusters. The disability assistance pass. I've been following that. It's been a long time since I've had to use that for some of my nieces and nephews who were on the spectrum. How we used it. So it's been a while. There was a lot of abuse with it too, but yeah, I'm kind of
unfortunately
behind the 8 ball on that. Yeah, unfortunately. Bob Iger can kiss my grits. I hear you.
Your grits are too dang hot, AMG. Too dang hot.
Kiss my grits.
Indeed.
All right, folks. So are we ready? Are we ready to get started?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Ready.
Absolutely.
ready.
100%.
There's no turning back now.
That's right.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
I love those sounds.
I love that, especially the Haunted Mansion, because depending on if I'm feeling devilish or not, the stretching room scene, at the end, and you hear the person screaming and crashed into like glass. If I really, really want to be a pain, I'll say, I'm not cleaning up that mess. I've had people cry. I think I said that during Halloween Horror Night, so that's okay. That's okay. I'm like, I know. So bad of me. But anyway, hot topic to start off with. And
hot topic.
Yes. Wow. When I first saw this, it seems like they always try to get Billy Dee Williams in some kind of gotcha where he's just shooting the breeze, being who he is, and they always want to seem to make a hot mic moment about this. Have you all heard about this already?
Bill, when you go on Bill Maher's show, Bill Maher is sitting there smoking some substance, right? He's always doing that. So I think Billy Dee was sitting there, and maybe those fumes came in his direction, and everybody got just a little bit more loosey-goosey than they typically would be, a little less safe. And this is the danger of going on Bill Maher, especially as you get up there in age, is that sometimes if he's blowing smoke your way, the smoke that arises from the topic of the day is all over the internet, and off we go.
Apparently, Bill tried to have Steve-O on, and Steve-O, who is very sober, it's like, hey, can we not do the whole, me and
Mary Jane are not dating anymore.
Exactly, right? And I guess the gal trying to book him was like, nope, no can do. That is a hard no. And it's like, okay, well, can't go on then. I mean, it's so what Pro is talking about right here, serious business.
Yep.
Yeah, that's actually very problematic. Especially for anyone who's been addicted to substances and are trying to better themselves. You go on this show, and that's part of the culture there. So that's a tough one. That is tough. But also, he can do whatever he wants. But yeah, this is a trap. It's a trap.
It sure is. It's a trap. It's a trap.
The fumes started heading towards Billy Dee. He thought he was talking to C-3PO after about 5 minutes.
Get out of there, Bill.
I mean, Billy Dee, at his age, he is like my relatives who they're so old, they don't care. they'll say whatever is on their mind, depending on how much their medication is kicked in or not. And it's just like, it's like, okay, yeah. Okay, pop, that's funny. Yeah. All right. Whatever. But with Bill Maher, it always seems to be some kind of gotcha that he wants to do. And you can see where this is going. And I have to give props again to Billy Dee for just basically saying, no, you're pretty much full of crap. And you're not going to try to guilt me, or you're not going to try to somehow shame me as a Black man, because how dare I push back on what it is that you said. But we'll just let this roll and you all can hear it for yourselves.
Blackface?
Why not?
Because
You should do it.
that's your point of view.
If you're an actor, you should do anything you want to do.
That's a great point of view, but the theater would be bombed.
I mean, Muni and I used to talk about this all the time. Muni was the one who was the first person that I worked with in those years who said to me, as an actor, you should be able to do whatever you think you can do, you should be able to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this reminds me of the controversy that broke out after Moana released. After Moana released, at that time, by the way, the actress who plays Moana had different viewpoints, I think, than she might hold today. Not trying to insert her views or speak for her. But after Moana released, there was a serious controversy about whether or not little girls of different ethnicities were allowed to wear a Moana costume.
I remember this.
And Aliki Cravalho came out and said that any little girl of any background could dream and pretend to be Moana for Halloween. And I wonder, so that was back in 2016-ish. I wonder what the response would be today. It does get you into some tricky areas, though. You think about, like, for example, if you are in an urban school, let's say, and let's say that you have you've got one of those history projects, right? And you're an African-American student. Maybe you're 15, 16 years old. Do you dress up as George Washington, and is that offensive? Is it offensive in the other direction if someone of a lighter skin tone dresses up as a historical figure because they love that person? You could think of Frederick Douglass, for example. You could think of all kinds of people who have tremendous admiration. And I don't think that those rules have been clearly fleshed out, pun intended, clearly fleshed out for all of society to understand exactly where the lines are drawn. And so what I try to do is I try to see, where is the person coming from? Are they coming from it out of a desire to provide more dignity and more respect, or are they doing it in a mocking fashion? And I think that's what the heart of Billy Dee Williams is right here. He's saying that, just like when we watched Robert Downey Jr. Play the role that would never fly today, I think Billy Dee is saying, if you're going to go for it, go for it.
Yeah.
It is weird. We live in a post Robert Downey Jr. age, right? Where he's nobody necessarily goes after him or attacks him over those things. But you bring up a Megyn Kelly or something, now it's a whole different discussion. It's just a weird thing. Go ahead, Lorena. I'm sorry.
I was just saying it's really interesting. To Pro's point, exactly what he was saying. It's not about putting on blackface to do a caricature of Black people. And that's what I think people like Bill Maher either do not understand or do not want to understand. To actually have that conversation, like, do you really truly know what blackface is? Do you want to go back and see, Al Jolson? Do you want to go back and watch Birth of a Nation? Do you want to see that? That was indeed a caricature meant to reinforce a racist stereotype. You've seen it done in Hollywood during that period of time. But what Billy Dee is trying to say, as a man who's actually lived through all of that, considering how old he is, when he's telling you, no, He's like, he should do it. And Bill Maher looks like he's about to suck in all the air because I can't. Oh my God. No, wait. No, he's wrong. He's wrong. And says stuff like, well, the theater would get bombed. I'm like, really? So do you really think, this is my spicy take, do you really think that if they went and did that in a blackface as a character, that the theater would get bombed? Do you really think that little of black people? I'm just putting that out there. That's the impression that I'm getting, and it's hilarious that Billy Dee Williams just laughed it off, and then he started talking about people who had worked in that time period. I could have swore he said Paul Mooney, but.
Well, one thing I really love that he mentioned Sir Laurence Olivier playing Othello. And in that performance was in no way depicting an image of black people, but he was just a person who had black skin, but he was a man, just a man with a dilemma. And that's it. In that particular case, it really works. And I thought I remember seeing this as a kid, and I was like, this is wonderful. And I know it seems weird to people, like, oh no, he's doing black, he's making fun of black. He's not making fun of black people. He's not pretending in a certain way that to act black or whatever. He's doing an honest portrayal of a human being. And that should really like close the door on it. Now, if you are doing sort of a shuck and a jive, and you're doing some kind of weird thing, it may not be acceptable, except for in the case of where you have the Robert Downey Jr. situation. When you watch that movie in its totality, you realize they actually go through the reason why the character does that, and the fact that the characters around him are really like, you can't be doing that. And he says, he eventually is like, yeah, I should be myself. It eventually comes to some sort of term with what he's doing, and it makes sense for the story. But just to put a blanket over everything and say it's bad, it's it can't be done, or it shouldn't be done ever, there's no reason for it, is really closing the door to opportunities of like actually exploring humanity and exploring what it means to be human and be different on the outside, but actually really the same on the inside. Just something that I think a lot of people are missing in this sort of, if you will, black and white conversation.
It's really strange because in the arts like this, where you have actors portraying characters and embodying roles and so forth, I mean, I know the new way of doing things is, well, that person has to represent that person, or that person has to be that person in order to write for that person, or to even do VO work for that person or character being depicted right there. But I view it as a little bit strange, because obviously an actor's role is to embody a character. That character doesn't exist. That has to be brought to life. And sometimes the only people that are available in order to imbue those roles are gonna be people of different orientation, background, whatever. I remember this. Remember the story a little while ago? We'll be talking about Scarlett Johansson again, but remember that Scarlett Johansson film that was in production, in development, where she was supposed to portray, I believe, a trans character, and the big argument was, well, she's not trans herself, and so she apologized, and I believe actually stepped down from the role. Well, that movie never got made, so that is kind of, I think, what Retro's stating right here, and what in some ways Billy Dee Williams is talking about. You're going to have people embodying roles sometimes that aren't necessarily of that particular persuasion, and we would love it if we could we could have those roles be embodied by those particular characteristics of those characters as much as possible. But sometimes, whether feasibility or otherwise, sometimes that's not going to happen. So, it doesn't make it okay. I believe it's okay. Some people, they feel strongly otherwise.
ScarJo should have shot back at the critics and said, listen, we live in a world, notwithstanding Othello. Okay, let's put it is a masterpiece. But
yes,
ScarJo could have said, an even greater masterpiece has come along and has set the standard that we can be anything we want to be. I'm talking about 2004's White Chicks, and therefore
I was just
will
going to
play
mention
games
it.
all I
I was just going to mention it. I was just going to mention it. Awesome.
Opening the doors to everyone, everywhere,
Oh,
to say
God,
anything they want.
Yeah. I mean, that's an example of a movie where it explains itself wonderfully, right? It explains why these characters have to do what they're doing. But also, and they weren't, going into the stereotype. From all my girlfriends who are, white chicks, they loved it. They thought it was hilarious, and I thought it was hilarious because it's just a fun little movie that's being absolutely silly and over the top, and it's also how guys interpret women as well too. And I thought it was genius. But we can't have those conversations. We can't have those intricate experiences because now everything is off. You couldn't make a white chicks movie today without people losing their mind. Oh, you can't, because of this conversation we're having. Everyone is super, super sensitive about every little thing.
You couldn't make Remember the Titans today without people losing their mind.
No.
That wouldn't be acceptable.
Oh,
and it's a shame how much we lose, all this great art because you have people feeling that they have the right to not be offended or what they perceive as being offended. And it's a shame because we're losing great art due to political correctness. But good on good on Billy Dee for being you, man.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead, there.
Yeah, and creating this conversation too, because I think it was a closed door. It's a closed door. A lot of people don't even want to talk about this. It's open and shut case, but it's not for every single situation. And he, really, it gives us an opportunity to talk about this.
Absolutely. And Angela Richter for $10. Thank you so very much for that super chat, my dear. Thank you. And for the 5 gifted memberships as well. So folks, please do make sure that you are opted in for membership. So when we have generous channel members like Angela Richter donate some, you have the chance to get one. So again, thank you so very much, my dear. And wow, we have 72 of you guys in here hanging out with us. We sure do appreciate it. So let's get to what I call the bomb of the day, because I did not see this one. I did not have this on my bingo card to talk about today. Disney argues it had a First Amendment right to fire Gina Carano for offensive posts.
Because they don't like her First Amendment right. Gosh darn it.
Wow.
She has a right to say it, but not a right to work and say it. That's the Disney position. That's the Disney
yes.
What
do you all think when you see this title?
Oh, I think they're working on a way to fire Billy Dee right now. They just like, darn it, he doesn't work
Billy
for
Dee,
it.
oh my God, he's canceled. No.
Mom's like, quick, hire him so we can fire him. What can we get him for? Surely he'll do a narration on the Nat Geo thing. We need him for one day, then he's out the door.
Yep. He has no outstanding employment with Lucasfilm at this current moment. What he said was abhorrent. That's what's going on.
Yes, he's a white supremacist.
Mm-hmm. Well, I call him the blackface of white supremacy. That's what they want to say.
Oh, a little Larry Elder right there. I like it.
Oh my gosh, this is something else. So let's read this from Variety, who we pretty much all know is not very friendly to Gina Carano. Disney argued Tuesday that it had a First Amendment right to fire Gina Carano, the actor who played a bounty hunter on The Mandalorian, after she allegedly, they're actually using that word now, allegedly trivialized the Holocaust in an Instagram post. No, she did not, but y'all had to throw that in there, I see. Carano sued in February, arguing that the company unlawfully retaliated against her for expressing her personal political views, which were at odds with Disney's preferred ideology. Disney's lawyers filed a motion on Tuesday to throw out the lawsuit, arguing that it has a constitutional right not to associate its artistic expression with Carano's speech.
But can they do that while at the same time her coworkers, or at least one of them, was expressing a very similar thought? Not just on the opposite end, as was being done by Pedro Pascal, but she was apparently expressing similar positions and thoughts as Carl Weathers. And so that then draws the question of, can you fire a woman and keep the man if they're saying essentially the same thing online, or will that bring you a ban into the courtroom? And Disney is facing the courtroom ban hammer. We'll see if the judge goes along with this or not.
Yeah, I mean that's interesting that you bring that up, Pro, because that's kind of where I was going with this as well. I'll go ahead and share my screen. You don't have to share it right now, but just for later, because there are things to be shared. That is for sure.
Oh,
but yeah,
please.
Pedro Pascal. Before, let's just see here if I have it available right now.
Let me know, and I'll bring it up there.
No problem. Here we go. Right there. She was criticized for multiple reasons. One being the association with things that happened in the 1940s. Yes, that is true. But a lot of the ire against her actually comes from the beep bop boop that she decided to post on Twitter as her pronouns right there. And apparently, as this story has unfolded, I guess Pedro Pascal actually advised her, hey, just go ahead and put hashtag trans rights in your feed, because apparently Pedro Pascal, I believe, has family members of that particular persuasion. And so one could argue that this was an attempt at compelled speech, which I believe is alleged in her lawsuit, interestingly enough. And yeah, what Pro is talking about right here, yeah, she, everybody has a First Amendment right to do anything. However, disparate treatment is not protected by the U.S. Constitution or California employee and civil rights law either. In fact, interestingly enough, Gina Carano is alleging that she was fired for said speech for her personal opinions regarding political matters and other things. Again, this ties back to the Red Scare in Hollywood. And so as a result of that, California passed a lot of laws to protect writers, actors, and people in the entertainment community specifically. And that's what she's arguing now. You can see right here what Pedro Pascal has tweeted before. Pretty spicy material, but nothing happened to him.
Yes.
And the case that, we'll get into who's writing the legal brief on this one, because I think that's relevant to the story. The case that Disney's alleging is that, we can separate the artistic representation of our work versus hers in any way that we want to. And that's fine, sure, okay. But you could have done that in a myriad of ways. Hey, the thoughts and opinions shared by Gina Carano don't necessarily reflect that of the Walt Disney Company, and kept her employed.
Yes.
This disparate treatment of, it's okay for Pedro, it's okay for Carl Weathers, but not okay for Gina, is what she's alleging right here. So I'll ask you, I'll ask all of you actually, does this seem familiar territory for the Walt Disney Company to allege or claim First Amendment protections in what they have done before. Does this sound at all like a case in which they previously cited the First Amendment as a way of protecting them from their actions?
Ooh, I know.
Yep.
Suing DeSantis because Disney, we have a First Amendment right to say what we want, but don't look into what we're doing with the Reedy Creek Improvement District. Don't look at that. That's our free speech thing. You can't attack that. You're attacking our free speech, and I do believe it was we plan to prevail against the state of Florida.
Yes.
How'd that turn out for you?
And, well, it didn't turn out very well, actually. In fact, federal judge throws out Disney's lawsuit against DeSantis. Now, I'm bringing this up for a reason, folks, because that's what it sounded like to me. And if I started digging around here because that lawsuit, interestingly enough, brought forward by the Walt Disney Company in suing the state of Florida and Governor DeSantis was brought by, let me just see here. Whoop, that's not what I wanted to do. Wait a minute, no. How do I? No. Well, shucks. That's unfortunate.
I have the complaint up. I'll bring it up and you just tell me.
Please do.
Where did it go?
Don't even know what I did.
Let's see. Oh, I forgot to share it on tab. There we go. Okay. Okay.
Please.
You tell me where to go.
On pages, I believe there are like 5 or 6, the attorney is listed as the one filing the brief here. You'll see a certain name I want everybody to see.
Is it? Where's the cases?
Ah, here we go.
Well, I'm just happy to know that Disney is doing so well with law.
There he is.
Daniel Petrocelli. Now you can go ahead and share my screen back there.
Wait a minute. This is a callback to ScarJo. I know what's happening here.
Yes, yes, bro. Don't get ahead of the story, though.
Sorry. Backing down, sir.
But Petrocelli was also the one pro hoc vice on the federal case that Disney filed. Now, they're saying as part of that settlement deal that they signed or engaged with the SIFTOD board that they're going to put a pause on that by a few months or so. But Petrocelli was the one that handled the legal brief for that case right here. He's also the one, as Lorena was very generously able to point out, the one handling this case, the response to Gina Carano. But as Pro pointed out, he was also the one to criticize Scarlett Johansson in what she was doing as well. Right here, Disney lawyer Daniel Petrocelli calls Black Widow lawsuit an orchestrated PR campaign. Says right here, it is obvious that this is a highly orchestrated PR campaign to achieve an outcome that is not attainable in the lawsuit. Petrocelli said, no amount of public pressure can change or obscure the explicit contractual commitments. The written contract is clear as a bell. So this guy keeps showing up when Disney wants to put its foot in its mouth.
Wait a minute, because this ties into another big story that came out within the last 24 hours. Why was Petrocelli trying to stop ScarJo and her crew from getting access to Disney Plus numbers so they could figure out how much she was actually owed? Why? Because the numbers were so terrible that they could not possibly go public. How bad are we talking? Well, in the last 24 hours, what have we reported on? That Disney Plus is now $30 billion in the hole.
Wow.
That's how bad the streaming service is performing in terms of profit. And they could not let those numbers get out back then, because then they thought they could chase Netflix and take them down. Petrocelli is everywhere.
He is everywhere.
Wow.
And interestingly enough, his history goes back even longer than that. Does anybody remember this guy?
What?
What?
We're not even allowed to show him.
Oh, isn't that Leslie Headland's former employer?
It
I guess you could call her the
is.
acolyte.
It is Harvey. I'm sorry, Leslie Headland's former employer. Sorry, I almost said the name there. That might be a little bit too spicy for this strain.
Voldemort, Fash. Voldemort.
Well, apparently, one of the victims of that person was represented by Mr. Who, Daniel Petroselli, right there. And what did he do in order to defend his client at the time? Quote, "If you ever come out, we'll drag you through the mud by your hair." That's who Daniel Petroselli is, folks. That's who this person is. That's who this person has always been. So when I saw that this remarkable allegation made by Disney here, that they are, they have a First Amendment right to free speech to fire Gina Carano, well, that to me smelled a little bit like Petroselli, and sure enough, that's exactly who's at the crux of all this chicanery.
Are you suggesting that Petroselli will chase you down to the Miramax of his abilities?
Yes, that is absolutely what is going on right there. So I'm just saying, folks.
Excellent sleuthing, my goodness.
I've been on this guy's coattails for a little while here. And by the way, everything is alleged, just so we're clear right here. This is all documented as I've shown it. But I'm just saying, okay, I am no fan of this attorney. And so when I saw this ridiculous argument that I was laughing about, I was like, you know what? This seems familiar. And sure enough, the connections were made.
So they're replacing Gina with Leslie Headland, former personal assistant to Weinstein, and now they went and got Weinstein's lawyer to go after Gina. Jeez Louise.
Wow, Bob, can you dig that hole any further? Apparently not.
By the way, this guy's 0 for 2 in the recent past, okay? 0 for 2. You want to go round 3? Oh, how many times do we have to be teaching this lesson, old man? Elon, let's go get him.
This is really just horrible. They keep saying, I keep hearing these things about Gina, that when people are like, oh, she keeps on bringing her name, her own self up in the news. She's dragging this out. But this is something that they could have avoided altogether. It's clearly not her saying, instigating this. But I mean, this is a response to, but she's not this is not her news article, specifically. And
she's trying to seek compensation for them destroying her career.
Yeah.
And she seems to have been calling for peace. And by the way, we know now that they were out to destroy her career, and we kind of know why. And we know that because she alleges in her lawsuit that they tried to force her to donate to a monetary campaign that was aimed at taking her down. And when she discovered that it was aimed at that, and when she discovered that allegedly Leslie Headland was funding it, she refused. So we know these connections. We know what they've been up to, so long as the facts are true that have been presented to us.
It's all that manipulation that I believe is unlawful. It's immoral as well. She deserves to have her own point of view. They deserve to have their own point of view. But why didn't they fire her at the first? Okay, we're not down with this. We're out. But they did a lot of those horrible behind the scenes activities to really cement her not wanting to cooperate with this garbage. So
there's something I'm gonna show you guys in the complaint. I am not a legal person, but when I see documents like this, I start digging to see what's in it. And this is interesting on page 21. I'm gonna read both these paragraphs here. In any event, to the extent that those individual actors' speech, we're talking about Mark Hamill and Pedro Pascal, the examples that Gina brought up in her lawsuit, is of any relevance to this case, jab, jab, the allegations in the complaint demonstrate that their speech was quantitatively and qualitatively different than Carano's. Yeah. Exactly. So they thought about, but wait, there's more. There's more. They aired different views on different issues, did not engage with anonymous accounts. That would be your bot army, Disney, and did not send multiple controversial posts within a compressed time span.
Oh, really?
It's
really?
much different. Sure.
What is this compressed time span you speak of? How do we know what it is versus an arbitrary amount you've decided is most advantageous to you? And by the way, is any account pre-Elon really not anonymous? Is it? Because I'm pretty sure every account, to whatever degree an individual wishes, was anonymous pre-Elon because you did not have to connect it with any kind of actual account, aka a blue check mark verified. It's attached to a business account or a banking account. And therefore, every account could be anybody. None of that mattered. So there you go, Disney. Retro Nerd Girl, I hear you have an impeccable aim. Could you, from your space station, could you maybe just release an egg sandwich for Bob Iger's forehead? I think he's earned it with this thing.
Oh, boy. Oh, my goodness.
The hubris that is in this, it's oh God, but it's so juicy, which is why it's on the Spice Lounge. Hence, even setting aside that it is not the roles of the courts to reject Disney's express values because they find them internally inconsistent. So apparently they cite this case, which is, I don't know, I'm not familiar with the case, but they probably did a Cliff Notes version reading of it and threw it in here as, say, yeah.
Mark Hamill's responses were totally different because they didn't respond to any accounts in the second half of the alphabet. Yeah, see? He only responded to people with names from A to G. Yeah, see? Totally different.
Now that's going to be the voice that I have in my head for the legal brief in front of the judge right there. That's what's going to sound
I'm Petra Jelly. I'm slippy and sticky at the
We
same
like
time.
I'm sorry. I almost said Michael Avenatti when you said
Might be related. They rhyme. It's close.
Yeah,
it's not too far off, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you both sound like slip and fall lawyers, but anyway.
Now, the thing that's really interesting about this is that they mention all of these little things like, oh, it's in a certain time span, or these other situations. Is there a place that they can cite or a document that they have cited that Gina has signed to agree to whatever it is that they are deeming relevant or possible or acceptable by certain people and not her? Like, is there something specifically that she violated that she agreed to? And that's a really important question, because all of this is really junk. It really is. It's playing favorites. You can see it. Mark Hamill is not going to face any problems for coming out publicly and saying, "Hey, I hated the director I was, or the direction of the movie that I was in." Like, he's not going to have any repercussions from that. Like, Pedro Pascal is not going to have any repercussions for saying any of the things he says on his platform or on his social media. So why is it that Gina is going to have, the opposite happen to her? And it really falls down to placating to a specific audience, the politics of it, and that Gina did not follow their politics. And that there is also, like, again, is there a document she signed saying, "I will follow your politics" publicly?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like, what is the policy? What is the standard equally applied? What is that? That's the questions that I have. If there's a social media policy that was out there and she flagrantly violated it, that's a different story. But again, it's like, I'm an armchair looking at this. I'm not a lawyer. I just watch a lot of Judge Judy. She asked a lot of questions, like, okay, and I'm like, okay, well, what makes one different from the from the other. But let me read this last paragraph down here. There's a lot of stuff down here in this quotes down here with their I like looking at footnotes here. For footnote number 4, controversial posts in a compressed time span. Okay, read this. The complaint focuses on 4 posts from Pedro Pascal, 1 in 2017, 1 in 2018, and 2 in 2020, one of which admittedly was immediately deleted. It notes 3 posts from Mark Hamill from 2016, 2017, and 2022. In contrast, Carano's complaint features dozens of her own controversial posts within a single year, often jostling with anonymous accounts who appear to be fans of the Star Wars franchise. Here they're alleging a hostile interaction with user whoever this is. Somebody might want to look who they are up on Twitter, see if they're actually real or if their account even still
They're a real boy.
exists.
Wait a minute. Is the argument that they're suggesting? Are they suggesting that Gina Carano engaged in the use of bots in order to protect her?
No. We don't. No, Vash. We don't need to acknowledge bots exist. That is not good for Disney right now. Bad.
That sounds a little confession through projection. As I see it right here, maybe Master of the TDS actually has something to say about that. Very interesting.
I only wish that they had went a different route with this and said they were qualitatively different. She was not denying that she has a grandchild, as opposed to one of these other gentlemen.
Oh my gosh! I looked this person up on Twitter. Wait till I show you this. Wait till I show you this. You guys ready?
Your guide.
You guys ready? You guys ready?
Please. We're ready.
Oh shoot! I lost the screen. Dang it!
We were ready.
You sure were, and I completely screwed this up. Okay, here we go. I have never interacted with this person online in my life.
Of course.
In my life. This X account is named in Disney's response to Gina Carano's lawsuit. And it's locked on a mental health break.
Huh.
Really?
Here's your question. Did the person go on a mental health break because they found out, something's coming?
Oh.
Perhaps.
Whoa.
Let's see.
It's about to get
Did
real.
they know that they were going to be mentioned?
Yep.
I think
sounds
so.
like
I think so. Can't
That
follow
sounds
or
like
see
it.
and went public.
Are the CEO of Obi-Wan Embroidery. So that's a company that clearly is on the right side of copyright and trademark.
Oh, yeah.
Obi-Wan Embroidery, no conflict there with Disney.
Oh, just wait for this screenshot to show up on X. That's all I'm gonna say. Like I said, I have never talked about this person. I've never interacted with this person. But interesting how they're mentioned in Disney's response. What's up with that? It's not some rando. Okay, interesting. Very, very interesting. But even further down the rabbit hole here, in addition, Pascal and Hamill are integral to the Star Wars franchise, while, as noted in the complaint, Carano never had any role beyond that of a guest actor.
What?
Yep. See, paragraph 128, noting that Pascal played the Mandalorian and describing Hamill as a Star Wars star. Yeah.
Well, because he says it makes it totally different.
And I'm sure Mark Hamill had an upcoming series dedicated to him and promised to him that was integral to the entire future of The Mandalorian. Totally. Definitely. 100%.
Okay. I'm like, my mind is blown right now. Carano never had any role beyond that of guest star, which is, I guess that's true in a way, but they were planning on making a whole thing around her. And that wouldn't be guest star. It was in the news. I don't.
At this point,
Rangers
they're
of
willing
the
to
New
say
Republic.
that. At this point, they're willing to say that Grogu is a guest star if it means they'll get rid of this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they'll cite Pedro Pascal
That's right.
Wow.
as a citation. No, Retro, you're exactly right here. And apparently, she's got the emails to prove that there were some assurances made in writing. Remember, folks, never in writing, always in cash. just good advice.
Exactly, Robert Dews. The same could be said about Carl Weathers. The same could be said for Timothy Oliphant. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, what are you saying, Disney?
These are these supposed to be arguments? I mean, I don't.
Petrosella be stretching, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
It's like if we throw enough quotes and what ifs and things, maybe people won't see the BS that's going on behind the scenes. And I honestly think that's what that is, especially.
I mean, look. I mean, they've just by them mentioning all of the areas in which other people have commented or made comments that are politically charged, whether for or against. They've already set up the imperfect environment for an employee to think it's okay to voice my opinions online. Look, these guys did it, so I should be able to do it too. They've set up the environment. They're doing the worst here to prove that they're in the wrong.
But they're in the right. Did so good in Florida, Retro. They did so good in Florida. This is going to work out great for them.
Yeah.
I'm only surprised there's not a blurb in here that says Gina Carano is not a real actress because she never appeared on my former client's casting couch. She doesn't.
Yeah, that's some spice right there. That's some spice. Well, it's true though. I mean,
you told me to come on the spice lounge. I thought I was supposed to bring the spice.
I did.
I brought the hot takes and the coriander just in case it was one or the other.
Yes, folks, we only have high-class stuff on this show.
That's right. That's right. That's absolutely right.
I can't believe what I'm looking at right now. That's just bad. Yeah.
I tell you, I got to thank Andrew from the Legal Mindset because I can't read like the whole complaint, but he'll like say, "Oh, here's where most of the juicy stuff is." So that's why I went towards the end of the complaint and finding all of these little details that Disney's putting in here and alleging and just
they're their own worst enemy here. I would not have included that. I'm not a lawyer, but I mean, it's just very, very simple. You don't put that in there.
What they're trying to do is they're trying to minimize. They're trying to do anything they can to minimize her role, so that they say, "Oh well, she didn't have an outstanding contract. We made no assurances. All these things in order to justify necessarily separating themselves from them." The mistake they have, though, is that they cited the reason why she's no longer under the employ of Lucasfilm in their statement. You never say why, folks. You just say, well, she's no longer part of this. Instead, they were like, "No, what she said was abhorrent, is disgraceful. We can't have any of this." And it's like, oh, well, you just let the cat out of the bag. You can't do that. Now you have necessarily a reason by the plaintiff to file suit here. TG 5455. There's something to be said about that, and to go off of what Retro was saying before. Yeah, the whole thing with Johnny Depp and that whole thing was some people believed that it was an attempt by the studio in order to enforce morality clauses in contracts going forward. See, interestingly enough, back in the day, studios, well, they weren't so talent friendly, and so they could essentially run your life. If you were contracted with them. It's actually, interestingly, it's one of the notable reasons why Palm Springs exists and how and has so many stars that used to go out there and used to frequent out there, because contracts used to stipulate how far away you could live from Hollywood, for example. And so that was the furthest point. Yeah. Interestingly enough. But these morality clauses, what you could actually do in your private lives and so forth, studios have been trying to re-engage in that behavior. And so that was a pivotal point there with the Johnny Depp trial as far as it's concerned. So I don't think a morality clause was within Gina Carano's contract. Otherwise, you would have thought that she would have towed that line a little bit better. And it's interesting because, some people have insisted that maybe a morality clause should be put in place in order to protect actors from themselves, from not, putting their foot in their mouths on a regular basis. But it was all okay for everybody else, including James Gunn, by the way, but not good enough for Gina Carano. That's where we draw the line. That's where they're in. That's the problem they're in right now.
And another thing they're going to have a hard time with is proving that she meant those posts as the way they perceive them, because when she explains her reasoning for putting out those posts, it's completely different. Now, is it the language we would all use? Probably not, but she saw her coworker use pretty much the same analogy, and she's like, well, I guess this is not going to be hard to communicate this way. I honestly don't believe that she is a bad person. She's explained a lot of the stuff out, but people will not hear her anymore. It's much better to think of her as a bad person and just write her off, and they want her to disappear.
Right. Well, Demos Laros, thank you so much for that. 2 pounds of the king's money. Thank you. It says, hi folks, Milkman here. Good to see you all. Well, it's good to see you, Demos, and thank you, and I hope I said that right, and thank you so very much for that 2-pound super chat. I so appreciate you guys support of my channel. So let's get into Crazy Bob, shall we?
Let's do it.
Before we do, over 120 of you are watching this show. Thank you so much for tuning into the Spice Lounge. Please make sure you hit that like button. Please make sure you share the stream out, because we've got about another 20 minutes or so of Spice to throw at you with our favorite dude, our favorite CEO, Bob Iger, who says Disney's mission is to entertain, not send messages.
Well, after the last segment, Lorena, this is really working out swell for Bobby.
Oh, yeah.
You're not fully clean until you're 2 shower Bob clean.
Perfect. Absolute perfection.
Get Rufa and your hippos ready, folks. We're going to find out what vapid virtue signaling Bob Iger says. He's going to quiet the noise as he sends Weinstein's former attorney to take down Gina Carano. That's going to play well with the folks out there, Bob. You're really convincing the Oklahomans that you're a neutral and moderate guy.
Yeah. That Midwest, they're really resonating to these messages, like you said.
They're like, we don't care about you folks in flyover country. The only people we care about are the ones that live in that area bounded by the 101, the west side of La Cienega Boulevard.
Yep.
The sensible
and the 405.
The sensible center is definitely identifying with Leslie Headland, former personal assistant Weinstein, over Gina Carano. Totally. That's how this is going to work out, Bob. Your messaging is GRE to the 8. They're great.
Exactly.
Thank you, Demogeni, for that $2 super chat. Demogeni, the Lord Commander of the Dark Council, says, hail to the super producer, Sup Panel. Hello, my dear. Glad to see you. Glad to see you're here.
And I love the name Demogeni, by the way. That's
Isn't that cool?
Very cool.
He has a cool name. He has an even cooler channel. So make sure you're subscribed to Demogeni. He's got some hot takes too. So I got to get you on the Spice Lounge one day. I know you're hardworking man. Well, speaking of what did Bob say? His mission is to entertain, not send messages. If that's the case, what the heck is this?
Oh, that is a girl. That is a girl. I know it's hard in today's world to identify what that is,
Okay.
but that would be a woman.
Okay, because maybe this is just me. Granted, I didn't read
That is not a woman.
that
Cancel,
many.
cancel.
Yeah,
You
that's
change that. Okay,
yeah.
back to woman again. Okay.
Different. And I guess it's dude. I guess it's dude right there. But this is just me. But I always thought that the Silver Surfer was a man. At least that's what I remember in some of the comics that I picked up because he was cool, all chromed out. Literally everywhere he went, left a trail of silver, behind him. I thought Silver Surfer was a dude. So what is this?
Lorena, we live in a world where if there was a biopic on Mr. T, I'd give it a 50-50 whether it's an actress playing Mr. T. And that's the world we live in now.
Think about the world in which Bob Iger lives in which that has to be expressed to creative. Because in that interview, he says, "Well, I've told creative that we had to focus on storytelling rather than agenda." Think about the context in which that's said and why he feels the need to say that. Okay. And then that really gives you an idea of where the Walt Disney Company is today, unfortunately. Yeah, Julia Garner, to add some spice to the show right here, I'm going to go ahead and quote Lou Wasserman Ghost's famous joke right here, suggesting that apparently they were going to cast Sydney Sweeney in the role. But once they found that the price of silver for the costume, they thought against it.
Well, here's a fun game for everybody at home playing along. Retro. How long has it been since a Disney Marvel movie was announced and you looked at the casting choices and went, "Oh, yeah, that's normal"?
That as normal now or normal for
that you looked at it and you're just like, "Oh yeah, everybody. Oh yeah, okay. So this character is just what I expected, and this character.
Oh
is just what I expected."
no.
It's been a while.
Yeah, no, it's been a while. Like since Avengers, like the early days of the Avengers, and before Ant-Man, I would say. They've just been really making very strange choices ever since then, I would say.
We've arrived at a point where Rocket Raccoon is lucky that he wasn't a lemur.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or a snail.
That's a good point.
It's really, really, if you just look at almost every single hero right now that they're creating, or they're like new characters that they're kind of working with, it almost seems as if I would say over 80% of them are female, and it is very daunting. A very equal society, a very equal idea, like would have at least 50%, I would say. Okay, if you're trying to make changes that are different from the way things are and equalizing things more, 50. But at this point, it's 80%. And my, spidey senses are tingling. They're saying something is very wrong here. I feel like there's an agenda. I feel like something's, someone is making all of these characters be female characters to push an agenda. And I don't want to think. I want to love the idea of a female Silver Surfer, but it's very difficult when we've already had so many characters be swapped, and the existing female characters like Sue Storm, is she going to get the attention that she needs to really stand out in this movie? Now, and that's really where we're talking about story writing and sculpting stories where women can shine. You have all of a sudden we've got a gender swap, and if it is explained in the story to be actually something good, or something that makes the story, enhances the story somehow. This is really a disservice to Sue Storm as a character. So that's all I'm saying.
It begs the question: why do we not have an origin story movie for Storm, and instead we're swapping Silver Surfer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Storm has just been erased from all of this, and who knows when we'll ever get her, and you know what they decide they're going to do with her. You bring up such a great point.
And you do. And when I think about this, and this is just me, it's like I'm a normie. All right. Well, let's say if I'm a normie who vaguely knows the comics, it's like, what do you mean Silver Surfer's a woman? It's not like they said point blank Julia Garner as Shala Ball, an incarnation of Silver Surfer. They didn't say that. They said Julia Garner is cast as Silver Surfer. That's where the insidiousness in there.
This will be the most clothed Silver Surfer you've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
Yes. I mean, it's going to be very. I'm not sure kids can handle, a Silver Surfer, woman, female. But I'm, the idea, I suppose, if they did have Sweeney as the Silver Surfer, that would have been very interesting to me, because she has a lot of curves, and so this is going to be interesting how they put this together, because will she have clothes or will she not?
Oh, she's going to be so clothed she'll make Mary Poppins fill him up.
Man, that is stuff.
And right on time, CJ says most flat-chested Silver Surfer ever. You better believe it. That's exactly what they're going to wind up doing. And Mark Daly, I'm glad you brought this up, because I believe this news dropped right after this happened. Thank you for the $5, my dear. Notice the news of Silver Surfette, I'm still going to use that, I love that term, doesn't come out until after the proxy fight is over.
Yes.
I think this was the first thing that dropped.
That's a good point. We're seeing a lot of things drop, interestingly enough.
It was like an avalanche.
Yeah. Not to mention the Disney stock also dropped.
Oh yeah.
That's a good point as well.
Woo, maybe someone should go and see where that is right now.
Give me
I think last time I paid attention, I think it was $118, and it dropped like
$17 and 19 cents at the closing bell today.
That thing ain't going anywhere.
I think another thing that really about this that's really unsettling is the fact that the MCU in general has not been able to actually create a cohesive story in any of its movies, its live action movies. And so we're trying to figure out, audiences all over the world is trying to figure out, how are they going to actually make this good? Are they capable of telling stories anymore? What is going on with Disney in general and being able to entertain the public with a big blockbuster movie? It's really baffling. They have all the money in the world, and the content that's been coming out has been either subpar or just barely okay.
Wow.
And graphics, special effects, fantastic. Get the best actors, but they can't seem to nail the story. And that's the most important thing before you show me or tell me about characters that have been cast. Are you concentrating on a good story or a great story? That would be even better. A great story.
And that's one of the things that's a hard pill to swallow with Disney, because Disney used to be the gold standard of storytelling.
Yes.
That was their business. That's what they were good at. I mean, they could literally snap their fingers and come out with the best story. It could be cheesy as hell, but it was enjoyable. You liked it, like one of my favorites, The Cat from Outer Space. Yes, it was cheesy, but it was a cat. And I loved that. It was just fun, family, just interesting to watch. You got wrapped up, in the story, but it's like the storytelling is gone. there's two, like one single stockholder said a couple of years ago at an annual at the shareholders meeting, said there's too much Roy and not enough Walt in the Disney company, and that was years ago.
Yeah,
they've
lost the magic. They've lost the magic.
Caroline Reed had a wonderful article in Forbes talking about the problems with Disney Plus and how that has been an albatross around the company's neck here, given the fact that they've invested so much in content and almost any of it is paying off. And in fact, they've actually taken content off that they produced. Remember, they spent $30 billion in content spend in 2021, and again, another $30 billion in 2022 in order to provide as much content as they could possibly muster. Unfortunately, that amounted to a lot of stale films. On the theatrical side, that is listed on the earnings reports as content licensing and other. That hasn't posted a profitable quarter since, I believe, 2022, back in the Chapek era. It's been a little while since that has posted a positive revenue for the company right there. So you're right, Retro. I mean, they've really lost the magic touch right here. And unfortunately, because even though you have bean counters in charge and they are going in with this fundamental belief that, we can still produce hits, we can still throw money at these problems right here, we can still leverage our existing franchises. That's where you're hearing about Frozen 3 and 4. That's when you're hearing about these sequels for the Marvel franchise, the Star Wars franchise, and so forth. We'll get over this. It's okay. It's all right. But the real problem, though, is that the pool of talent by which you can actually hire from that Hollywood area right there, with, like I said, they have a certain belief system when it comes to the Midwest, or when it comes to cultural values and so forth. They are simply misaligned with their audience. So it doesn't matter how much money you throw at it or how much money you cut from it, you still have these fundamental problems. Perhaps Disney Plus could have been revolutionary with the content spend if circumstances were different, but unfortunately Disney has forgotten how to make great, timeless, unifying content as they've pushed out a lot of those people out of the door, like John Lasseter and others.
Well, speaking of stories and not being very good at storytelling, I got a question for Pro. How much do you like Josh D'Amaro?
Oh, Josh. Oh, Joshy Josh. You've just done a by gosh great job of building up the parks in China. Good job.
Well, yeah. Disney's parks are its top moneymaker, and it plans to spend $60 billion to keep it that way. Well, a lot of that $6 billion is not going to be coming here to Walt Disney World. That's for sure.
I'm enjoying, Lorena, watching the folks out there all excited because we're getting a quote unquote expansion. It's really just knocking stuff down that already exists and redoing it in Animal Kingdom, and then a Beyond Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. And folks, we've just watched it. It's been like a 6-year construction project at Epcot, and they're still not done. It was a 5-year project to build Tron, and you think this is going to be? They haven't started yet. This is going to come out in a decade. That's the problem here.
Yeah, not anytime soon is just any of this coming back. And let's not forget about the other stinker that they had to shut down and board up, and that, of course,
she's not talking about the sewage smell between Moana Splash Pad and Spaceship Earth either.
Woo! Oh my gosh, like Rice Creek in Putnam County, you can smell the journey of water inspired by Moana before you see it.
It makes you wonder what Moana's been eating and drinking. Keep her away from the Mexican pavilion.
Can you literally?
Definitely. Let's not.
I mean, I look at this and I'm like, well, Josh is basically saying, The 5K Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel was difficult to explain. And props to Clownfish TV via Pirates and Princesses for bringing this up. I'll ask the panel, did you all think that we didn't understand what the Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel is, and that's why it failed?
I think everybody understood it. Experience.
Yeah, I think even I did a story on the reason why this failed. I had a long list of things that went wrong with this thing, and I don't even I don't even usually cover this stuff. It was so spectacular, I had to look at it. I was like, I had a whole spreadsheet. I was like, okay, this is all of guys. You gotta just laugh at this. This is really incredible.
I remember when the trailer came out. When the original trailer came out, I remember going, this,
oh golly gee,
this is special. We have reached something very special, and not in a good way, but we're all going to enjoy how special it is.
Yeah, they had a good idea. You know, it was a good idea. The execution was is definitely where it suffered, and making it so darn expensive and claustrophobic. I mean,
they spent years and years and years on R&D for this thing. Hundreds of millions of dollars were invested by the company in order to develop new software, in order to pull this whole thing off. Like I said, the R&D with focus groups and so forth to try to really kind of hone in on what this experience was going to actually be. This was a huge, extensive project by the Walt Disney Company, and a lot of it was due to the fact that they wanted to. It wasn't going to start and end in Walt Disney World, folks. This thing was going international. Chapek had this grand idea of bringing this concept to every single resort destination that they have around the world.
Wow.
This was not just a one-off at Walt Disney World. In fact, as recently as I believe, right before this thing was actually canceled, Disneyland Forward representatives were actually going out and saying, yeah, our Disneyland Forward project would allow us the ability to build out a Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser here. So they were even touting the fact that they could bring that to Anaheim one day. Well, it turns out it's not going anywhere. In fact, at Walt Disney World, there was a plan to build it out to 800 rooms and then 1,200 in expansion. Then that got whittled down to 400, then 200, then 100. So they tried to compartmentalize their bet, and unfortunately, I don't think the marketing was great. This cruise to nowhere, I don't think was a successful concept, but
yeah.
I don't think it was the marketing that really did this in. I think
here's
it was
a hard
the quality of
question for
execution.
everybody. Hard question for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
If Disney had, so once they realized we're in trouble, if they had switched to Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Lando Calrissian, Princess Leia, Darth Vader, and Yoda, if they had switched to that, how long could this have gone and been full capacity? Because that'll tell you how much they hate the original Star Wars.
Yes.
They'd rather bunker this thing and use it to store all of their extra furniture than to put Luke in something. That's how much they hate original Star Wars.
I mean, couldn't you? It's like I think about just how much of a missed opportunity this is. How much would you pay if you had the opportunity to have dinner with Vader? And I'm talking about the scene on Bespin where Han Solo and Leia and Chewie, and they're walking, and you're just like, we'd be glad if you join us for dinner. Lando's playing along with it, pushes that button, the door goes up, and what do you see but Vader right there at the head of the table? How much money
that would have been amazing
would they have gotten from something like that?
Yeah, it puts you right in the
movie. They check their ego.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that was really outstanding to me was of course the prices and the food that they decided to
blue shrimp.
It was and you couldn't order regular food. You had to order the weird food, and some people were allergic to stuff, and they spent a lot of money to not be able to eat anything, not to have any windows anywhere.
Retro, you mean you don't want jumbo shrimp that have been dunked in blue slush puppies?
Yeah,
I can't believe it.
Yeah,
But it's all you can eat, Retro. It's all that you want. Come on, that's got to really up the resale value there. The problem is for the quality of, the premium product that you were allegedly paying for with this, 6,000 figure that we've heard so much about, and for what you got, I think in a lot of people's minds they weren't really seeing the real value there. I was critical initially of this project because it was like, look at the rooms. Why are they so small? You could have made them any size you wanted to. I mean, it's a fictional cruise liner. You could have done anything you wanted, so that way you could at least, you could at least sell it or pitch it as a product as, hey, you're getting a premium experience. Instead, they attempt to sell what is essentially a value resort for deluxe plus prices. I mean, it's just it makes no sense for the average person. Now, that interactivity is really cool if you choose to engage in it, but for all the people who don't, well, you're kind of out of luck without a pool or windows.
Yeah. And another thing I wanted to mention is that it just went out of my mind. Sorry.
No worries. I'll put this one up
It's
here.
hard to track.
Yeah, there's just too much stuff to talk about in this, but yeah.
This is from that Park Place, and I had to laugh when I saw this article. First of all, definitely go check out that parkplace.com, the site. Serious glow up. It's looking absolutely fabulous. Let's see it. Written by WDW Pro.
Who's that? And by the way, I'll tell you too, the source for this article, is someone that everybody out there would definitely know. Not going to say who, but it was very nice to get this information from someone that you would not expect reaching out to your pal Pro and saying, all right, enough is enough. Here, run this.
Wow.
Ooh, that's a stretch.
To try to blame this on the fact that you have, because there were supposed to be, Imagineering was going to shift to Florida, I believe under Chapek, which kind of made sense. Why have Imagineers all the way out in Burbank, Anaheim, when you have Walt Disney World here? So there was this big move that was going to happen. They were going to have a campus over in Lake Nona. They made a big to-do about the area over in Lake Nona. Dirt had ever been turned over, ever. There was no work being done in that area because I've driven by that area several times. And you know what? Bob's back in power, bringing Imagineers back. So they blame it basically on, you dang Florida Imagineers. We could have, you made us want to try to go out there. We didn't want to go out there. This is your fault.
Blame Florida. Blame Florida.
even though Walt Disney World accounts for a third of the profit for the entire company, kind of makes sense to have your Imagineering headquarters out there, or at least a remote site, if nothing else, and maybe you can migrate over a period of time. Instead, it's you guys. You're the ones that caused this problem. Come on, Disney.
No, there were like blatant problems that you could see right from the get, and including the entertainment. That was another thing that a lot of people complained about, and you could see that from a lot of people took videos and stuff and shared it online, and how the poor quality of the entertainment that they had, of Ray battling somebody, and it's just like, really, what?
Well, when she had to put down her lightsaber to get the next lightsaber, it
was so sloppy. Oh my god!
Yeah,
I was just gonna say that. Oh man, that was a little bit embarrassing. Now, the technology of actually producing that lightsaber, pretty cool, but you can see that it was a little fragile.
Yeah, I mean, they would have done better to just have that somewhere else, on an actual theater stage. But it really, while you're eating, all of a sudden there's a fight that breaks out. Another thing to me was the outside location looked like it was in the middle of nowhere. And I don't know if that was done on purpose, but it looked terrible on the outside. It did not look like or feel like you were going to some sort of exciting space camp or whatever.
You're not a fan of blank concrete awning. Noted.
Look.
Yeah. And just even the outer area, just like, where's the fantasy of this moment? Like,
well,
there really isn't.
The weird part about that retro is that when you were pulling up to the entrance to Galactic Star Cruiser in order to start your voyage to the Chandrillan Star Line vessel here, the Halcyon, you drove past the back of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, breaking the illusion of the rockwork.
I like rocks on sticks. Rocks on sticks is great.
What? You don't show how the magic trick works before you perform it, guys. What are you doing?
You didn't like that cardboard cutout there?
My mind was blown. I'm like, why'd you put it here with this specific route? Come on, it's. This is a company who moved heaven and earth to have Seven Seas Lagoon be your entrance to what is now the Magic Kingdom.
No, Vash. No. That was the Walt Disney Company. You're conflating that with the Bob Iger Company.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a real good point. Apparently, all that institutional knowledge is poof out the window, right there.
Yeah.
It's
it's
really like pixie dust.
I mean, I could think of like 5 different ideas that would be amazing to pull this off. But the other thing was, a lot of people had mentioned that this looked like Star Trek instead of Star Wars, and that's a really big problem. You can't mess up those two franchises, and that was something that a lot of people said. This really looks more Star Trek-y, especially with everything being enclosed and feeling that sort of high-techy feeling of it. There just wasn't enough of that gritty Star Wars feeling from like 1977. I think what they are thinking is like technology, glowy stuff. We'll just put it all in here, sleek everything. But that's not always Star Wars. So that was a big problem.
One of the things from Star Wars Galaxy's Edge that I think was fairly successful was Oga's Cantina. That kind of aesthetic, that look, that feel, that touch that Richard, you were talking about right here. And so if the Star Cruiser or whatever experience they were going to go with could somehow evoke a little bit more of that and less of, I don't know, hyper clean new trilogy-esque stuff, maybe this would have been far more successful. I mean, here's the thing. I think there is a market for these kind of immersive experiences. I believe Omega Mart in Vegas is very successful. You could imagine an experience like this. Hey, what if you could stay in Hogwarts and become a wizard by the end of it? Wouldn't that be outrageous? Wouldn't that be cool? Disney has had concepts involving this and maybe a certain mansion, just saying, can't say much, but you could see how this could work with any other theme. Unfortunately, the one they chose in conjunction with the price was just not a winning combination.
Now, especially for you don't even get a full 48 hours with
it was a day and a half.
Like a day and a half for they kick you out, which is in stark contrast to how this concept of the Star Wars hotel was originally sold to us. Because when I saw the concept art, I'm like, wait, we get to stay in a Star Wars hotel. It's like cosplay 24 hours a day. And it's right in the middle of, I guess, where Galaxy's Edge was going to be. It's like, cool, I'm going to be able to go outside this hotel. I'm going to get to, haggle with Jawas. I'm going to get to go to the Mos Eisley Cantina. I'm going to get to live those parts of the movies. And then when I go back, to my hotel room, maybe I can go play some Bach. Maybe I can go, see that band from the cantina, but have that whole experience. That's what we thought we were going to get, not this bottle experience where you're basically locked up in this hotel for a day and a half. I mean, you get to leave early in the morning to go to Galaxy's Edge, and then there's like get up that you have to buy of your own to wear. You can't bring your own stuff. You have to buy the stuff there to wear only if you're on the cruise. only if you're doing that experience.
They wouldn't let you wear full-fledged helmets. You know, they imposed the same restrictions that they do in the parks on this concept here. So you couldn't even LARP in the way that you wanted to LARP. It's crazy.
That's so bad. They messed it up, man. They had something. I didn't even know that about the costuming situation. Wow, they had something.
They did, and it used to be like Star Wars weekends. Remember that?
Oh,
that Star Wars weekend. That.
Tell me more.
I'll let Bash explain.
Star Wars weekends, if you are not familiar, back in the day, they used to have a series of weekends. I believe it was kind of May the 4th around that time period, if I'm not mistaken. But they used to have a parade, a huge parade of all kinds of characters throughout both trilogies. Huge assemblage of stormtroopers, clone troopers, every single character you could possibly imagine would make appearances over that weekend. They used to do special celebrations at Star Tours. They used to have the hyperspace hoopla, where you had various Star Wars characters actually come out and perform in, funny dance routines. Some people have criticized the Walt Disney Company for doing that, but it was bringing out the fun. On one occasion, they actually had a special performance of the Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular, but with Star Wars. That was a pretty fun one as well. They used to do all kinds of crossover events regarding the Star Wars brand, but that's all before they actually bought the brand. Once they bought the brand, then all of that stuff went away, and now we're limited to this very specific timeline between episodes, 8 and 9, where everybody's dead and nobody else exists, and they've taken a lot of the fun, the joy they used to have with this franchise out of it. It's a real shame.
Yeah. Including my favorite, Minnie Mouse's slave Leia.
Wow.
Yes.
I do. I have, I have art. Hold on one second. I'll show you guys really, really quickly. I've got it up here on
I'll share the story.
Okay. Oh, go ahead, Dad.
I'll share this story while you're getting that out there. Particularly with that version of Leia, I was actually talking to an artist who is commissioned by Disney to do artwork all the time for them, and he wanted to do a piece celebrating Jabba the Hutt and that version of Leia. This was back when they first purchased it, so this was back 2012, 2013-ish. They told him flat out, no, you cannot do it. We don't want that representation of Leia as part of our brand going forward. He was barred from it.
Oh, no.
I have 2 pieces of this art. And do you know where I got it?
Wow, look at her.
Star Wars weekends. Like, it was a tail end of a weekend when I got there. And was just like, do you have any art left? Do you have any art left? I saw that. I said, good, I'll grab it. I'll take it. So I have 2 of these. This is this one. There's another one where she's laying down in front of Jabba's throne. Gorgeous. But it's problematic now after they bought the brand.
Never allowed now.
Yeah.
Never allowed.
Can't get it now. Nope, can't get it now.
That's so cool.
Told by a prominent artist who wanted to go ahead and depict that. It's just they just told him no, and that's why you've seen this depiction of the female characters in Star Wars the way you have.
Yeah.
Right. Lorena, I believe you have received one heck of a super chat, though, if you would like to take a look at that.
I sure would. First of all, over 137 of you guys watching. Holy goodness, thank you so very much. Please make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to all my panelists. Their links are down there in the description box. Let's see. First of all, Jay gifted 5 Reina Creole memberships. So thank you so awesome. Very much for being so generous, my dear. I sure do appreciate that. He's always supporting the channel. Charles Ratliff also gifted 5 Reina Creole memberships. So thank you so very much, my dear. Thanks for sharing the love around. Because y'all are going to help me get through the Acolyte.
Along with some particular medications over the counter, of course.
Yeah, usually it's in a bottle. Trader Joe's $3 Chuck. I think it's $4 now, but
darn that inflation.
And Jay, thank you so much for that $5 super chat. Thank you for supporting me like that. Says Vash, don't forget you can also see the back of the rocks from Anaheim's Galaxy's Edge from the park and structure too.
Yep, you can. You can also see them from Toontown, which is really, really unfortunate.
Dang, that is such a bad show. Well, it's kind of like that big, huge blue building for Cosmic Rewind that sticks out like a sore thumb when you go to Epcot. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, you can't hide that darn thing. Can't hide it. But thank you so much, Kiss My Grits, dropping a bomb of a $50 super chat. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you. I so appreciate it. So generous. Oh my goodness. It says, rather than destroying Magic Kingdom's legacy and Walt's vision with Beyond, Disney should just replace Alien Encounter with a new e-ticket experience. I miss Alien Encounter. Oh my gosh. Do you know about Alien Encounter? Retro Nerd Girl?
Oh, no.
Imagine being in an attraction that makes you feel like you're on the Nostromo from Alien.
Sign me up.
Yes.
Breathing on your neck, the things on your shoulders. It feels like the alien is actually on your shoulders. And when they decided to, yeet somebody, it almost feels like there's blood on your neck. That's what Alien Encounter used to.
That was in Tomorrowland's Magic Kingdom, by the way. So it was a very extreme attraction. In fact, the original incarnation of that did include the alien from the Nostromo there. But unfortunately, it took a little bit of a different turn once George Lucas got involved. But Magic Kingdom was where this attraction was at. It actually took the place of Rocket to Mission to Mars, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Mission to Mars.
And they had the rights because of the Disney Hollywood Studios or Disney MGM Studios deal, for sure. Go ahead.
Oh.
Well, I was just going to say, I love KMG's idea. It's just that if we take you back in time, you could be vaporized. It's very risky, KMG.
It's very true.
If you know Flight of the Navigator, you'll know what we're talking about there.
Yeah, I do. Man, I tell you, Alien Encounter. Whoo, I tortured a lot of my siblings with that ride attraction. People are like, is it scary? Yes, it is.
As an 11-year-old visiting the park for the first time, that freaked me out.
Well, it even had a little plastic piece that it would stick out of a tube, and then it used wind to flap that so that it felt like the alien's tongue was on your neck. So yeah, they went there.
They did. It was the freaking best. Yes. And well, they replaced it with Stitch's Great Escape. I mean, I love Stitch, but yeah.
Covered Cinderella Castle with toilet paper just for the occasion.
Mm-hmm. Yes, just for the occasion. How could you? I was a really evil older sister. Let's put it that way. Oh my gosh. Well, folks, as usual, the Spice Lounge, we went over a bit more than when we planned. So thanks so much for the panel for being patient with me and indulge me. This is great conversation. This is what we like to do on the Spice Lounge. Have those spicy takes, have the fun exchange among us on the panel and you guys in our chat. We have the most, I'm biased. You guys have the most awesome chat for real, for sure. And make sure, folks, that you subscribe to everyone on this channel. On the panel channel. Oh, God's late. Let me go around, let you guys shout out your channels. We'll start with Vash. Let's start with you. Where can folks find you, and what do you have coming up?
Well, the best place to find me right now is at That Park Place, where Lorena makes occasional appearances. Thank you so much for all the contribution to That Park Place over the years, by the way. Or I'd say years. It kind of has been years, right? If you include the site, it has been. But that is all starting to change right here, because while I will still be on That Park Place on a regular basis for sure, well, we're going to be augmenting that with a new channel, That Park Place Podcast Online, or T3PO. That will be debuting at April 15th right there. All kinds of content, including one with Lou Wasserman's Ghost, interestingly enough, where he answers your questions, folks, about the Hollywood industry. And if you want to go ahead and ask a question right there, you can at T3POnline@yahoo.com right there. So just go ahead and use that. For other places, you can find me at Theme Park Universe, going over all of the theme parks all across the world. We have a lot of updates coming. We got Kadaya and all kinds of stuff happening right now. So you definitely want to go ahead and subscribe to that channel as well. That Park Place, the Theme Park Universe, Theme Park Universe podcast is what you have to type in right there. But it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for having me on, Lorena. It is always a blast.
Oh. You. We love having you as part of a regular spice. Oh, glad I'm forgetting the name of my own show. Lord, it's a long day. Spice. We love having you here as a regular panelist, Bash. We so appreciate all your insight. And yes, I love the sound effects because I don't have. Tatsu-sama, thank you so very much for gifting those 20 Reina Creole memberships. Oh my gosh, we definitely need to have another member stream. Thank you guys so very much. There's all kinds of videos out there. We have member live streams. Also, exclusive pictures. You guys are seeing pictures of my PC build here, which I'm slowly getting together, and I'm kind of getting tired of looking at different plugs and stuff like that. Like, where's the fan? Where's the but it's all good. It's all good. You guys can check that out with me. So thank you. That was so generous, Tatsu-sama. Thank you so very much. Jeremy knows it says he's all signed up with all of you guys, and thank you. You guys are so cool. Well, speaking of cool, Retro Nerd Girl, what do you have going on, and where can people find you?
Well, I like to review a lot of older movies, usually of the sci-fi nature when I do venture out to other genres. You can check out my channel on YouTube, and you can also catch me on Twitter as well. So I do live streams and reviews. Come and hang out with me.
Yes. Go check out her channel, Retro Nerd Girl. She's amazing stuff. We also do watch parties on my channel. We just did one for Disney Sleeping Beauty not too long ago. Yeah. So go back and check that out. We're also planning a watch party for the movie Shrek. If that is literally the OG point of origin for lampooning Disney.
Yeah, and I haven't seen it, so it's going to be great.
I'm making waffles. Oh, well, Pro, where can the people find you? And thank you so much for guest starring on the panel today.
Well, it's been very spicy. I had no idea that all this news was going to break. And what a great place to be for it to happen. I hope all of those folks out in the audience will be here again the next time that you fire up the spices. The folks, if you want to find your pal Pro, just go to the Pro channel, WDW Pro, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, each and every single day, explaining entertainment, keeping you ahead of the culture curve. And tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern, a special Pro Show Live, a special edition, because we're on a mission to talk about this Gina Carano lawsuit. We'll see you there, folks.
Oh,
I want to see that.
It's gonna be awesome. You guys do not want to miss that. As for your girl, well, let's see, what day is it? All right, we had this show on Saturday morning. I will not be streaming from the parks, but I will be streaming from here in my studio because it is time for we Epic Universe planners to unite and start strategizing for when this amazing park is going to open. I'm going to have news. I'm going to have some intel about just where Epic Universe is and where you can possibly plan to stay, and all kinds of important things like where's the Chick-fil-A? Where's the Wawa? Where's the Publix? You know, those things that are important for you to know. So we're going to have fun with that Saturday again at 10 a.m. and Saturday at 7 p.m. A 7K celebration. Myself, folks from this panel, all kinds of friends coming through, just having fun, chilling, having a great time, just celebrating you guys helping me blow past, that milestone. I'm amazed at 7K. I didn't think I was going to get 70 viewers back in the day. So please join us for that. And also 8 p.m. on Sunday. Welcome to Florida. All the crazy news we can fit in a 90-minute show from the second craziest state in the union. Trust me, it's something else. So please do check that out. And again, of course, next week, same place, same time for the Spice Lounge. Guy Scar of the Bosco Scenario is going to be joining us. We are going to be talking about that Fallout show, which debuts on Amazon Prime in about 2 hours. So we're going to talk about that and
yes,
whatever pop culture bomb decides to explode before we go. Before we go live. So thank you guys again so much for joining us. Thanks everyone on the panel for hanging out with me. Thank you guys in chat for hanging out with me. I so appreciate you spending your valuable time with us. Hope we were able to entertain you, make you laugh, make you smile, make you gasp. Did they really say that? Yes, we did really say that. Take care, everyone.